Hello stampers and crafters, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Sarah McGuire from Sassy Paper Crafts, and today's project is this one. This super cute card is made using the Fancy Borders bundle from Stampin' Up. I'm going to show you how to create this border and how to color this super cute image. So if you want to see how to make this card, please keep watching. To start our card, we're going to start with a little bit of stamping. We are using 2 stamps from the Fancy Borders bundle. We're going to be using this large stamp here and A Little Hello with a Lot of Love down here. But this set does have 11 photopolymer stamps in it. We are going to be using one of the border dies to cut this really cute border, but there are 5 other dies in here. And you can see these dies used on my blog this week. I have 2 other projects using this bundle. Just head over to sassypapercrafts.com to see those. We are going to start with stamping. So I just have a kind of a scrap piece of basic white here. This is 5 1/4 by 3. I'm just going to set this down here. We got our stamps. I have our largest one here on an E block, kind of at a diagonal, and then our sentiment there. We're going to be using Memento ink. And I'm just going to ink up our large stamp here, making sure that it is fully covered. And the reason I'm using Memento ink, you could use StazOn honestly as well. We're going to be using a blender pen, but I'm using the Memento ink today. It's just what I grabbed. And I'm just going to stamp there as straight as I can, and not all the way to the bottom, because we are going to be using this border die to cut around it, and you can see it fits around there. So I'm not going all the way to the bottom, and what I like to do is just turn it and do that again. It was just easier for me to turn it instead of trying to line this up the opposite way. So we're just going to ink that up again. And I think I have a little bit too much ink in my Memento ink, but that's okay. And I'm just going to try my best to line this up and not touch the stamps, not get too wiggly or wobbly. Perfect. Love that. So we're done with the big stamp. I'm going to take our sentiment, ink up that in the Memento as well. And we're just going to go right in the middle, like that. So this one's a little bit smaller than this one. That's okay. It's a handmade card. It's not supposed to look the same every single time. So now we're going to color. I'm going to move that up to the top. I have Pretty in Pink and Shy Shamrock. These are some of our 2024 to 2026 in colors. And I have a blender pen here. And what I like to do is I just take the blender pen and I go in like the corner. And it has a solution in there so that you can blend the colors really easy. It's different though than a Stampin' Blends, because those are alcohol-based markers, and I'm clearly using our water-based inks for that. So I just kind of went around with the Shy Shamrock, and like I said, my Memento on this was a little bit too dark, but you could see I did some of the Shy Shamrock there, and you can just do it however you like. And you can tell when it starts running out, and you'll just want to reload your blender pen and go back in. So I'm just going to color in our Shy Shamrock, and then we can color in Petal Pink. Over everything I want to go over in the Shy Shamrock, and I still have some on my brush. So what I like to do, I don't know if you can see the bottom down there, but I just run it over my grid paper until it goes clear, and then I know all the Shy Shamrock is gone. So then I'm just going to do the same thing with the Pretty in Pink, and I'm just going to go over the leaves that I want to go over. I kind of did like an opposites here, so I'm going to do that one in Petal Pink too. You can see on this card I kind of did the same thing. So I'm just going to go over the rest of the leaves in Petal Pink, or Pretty in Pink. Now I've gone over everything I want to go over with the Pretty in Pink, I'm going to do the same thing and just run my blender pen on my grid paper until it goes clear. So that way, the next time I want to use it, it's ready to be used. I'm going to put away my inks, and then we're going to run our image here through my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. I also have another piece of Shy Shamrock, and I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm going to run it through, and then we're going to cut it in half, and I'll show you that in just a second. I've got out my mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, my #1 base plate, and then a cutting plate. I put our image down and our border, and I just put a couple of pieces of washi tape on the ends to hold it. The way I line this up is there's a little bump there in the middle. I line it up with these 2 sets of leaves, and that's how I know it's in the middle. Yours might look a little bit different. Like as you can see here, I had to cut some off of this one, so it's a little bit crooked. That's okay. Again, it's a handmade card. I like the little imperfections. So I'm just going to run this through. Maybe if your machine ever just sticks, stop, because something's wrong. So mine just stuck there. So I just pulled that out, ran it back in, and now it's going through perfectly. And you, of course, could use the standard Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine for this. I just use the mini because it's easier. So now we can move our scrap piece out of the way. I'm going to leave the washi tape on. I'm going to be careful to remove it. I don't want to rip my paper. And now we're just going to do the same thing to the other end. I'm going to set that down, lining up this bump here with this on the edge. Oh, the tape is sticking. What I did before was I just moved the whole thing, sat it down. Sometimes it's just easier that way. And then just line it up, stick the tape down, and run it through again. Now that piece is finished. I'm gonna set down our Shy Shamrock piece, and you know, this tape I really don't need anymore, so I'm just gonna remove it. And then we're just gonna make a border and try to keep, what I tried to do for this is have it even, the corners here even. Looks about right to me. This part is really not as precise, whoops, because we're going to be cutting it in half anyways. So you just want to make sure you have those ends. So now that this is die cut, you can see it's a little wonky. That's fine. We're just going to snip off this end. And you can use your paper trimmer for this, your paper snips, or a pair of scissors. And I'm just going to cut this right in half like that. Again, does not have to be perfect. And what we're going to do is I'm just going to kind of line it up just so that Shy Shamrock peeks out just a little bit. So we're going to use our liquid glue, and I put the glue on the label here. And not a ton. You don't want it squirting out everywhere. Just a little bit. And again, I just found it easier to line it up with this up on top. And then I just turn this around and did the same thing for the bottom piece. A little bit of glue. And then I can see too that my ends here, I just want to snip those. Just like that. So now we have a label. Again, on that, the sample card, I went a little bit crooked, but that's okay. So now I have a piece of the 2024 to 2026 in color designer series paper. I did lines on this one. I thought I would do dots on that. I also have some of the Shy Shamrock 3/8 bordered ribbon. Just gonna snip a little bit of that off. And then grab my Stampin' Seal. What I like to do is just run the Stampin' Seal. Maybe. There we go. And then before I stick this down to the card base, I like to stick my ribbon. So that piece was a little bit long, but that's all right. And then stick down our paper to our card base. Grab a few dimensionals. We'll go with 3 of them. Right in the middle. And then for an embellishment, I went with the 2024 to 2026 in color resin dots, and we're going to use the Shy Shamrock. I'm going to go with 3 of them, I think. 2 down there. I'm going to use a large one up there. And that is our card. So I hope you enjoyed this card tutorial today. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel to see more card making videos and craft tips from me. I want to thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time.